SD Delta Plus. Hey, what's up again everybody? It's Robert184, 2Rs2Bs, gundam.tk, continuing my look at the Super Deformed BB Senshi Delta Plus from Gundam Unicorn Transforming Super Deformed. Let's see how this is going to play out, starting with the parts. With these empty plates, including the nice clear and the clear red part there, leading to these typical body parts down there, you'll see that the binders on the back are going to be attached onto the chest when you build them up. There's the empty seals down there, not so bad putting them all on there, to go along with the weapon and the various holding stands, and that massive chunk of plastic that's going to be the base jabber. The leg is going to be typical of the new kind of details that we're getting here on SDs. First of all, the fact that the foot is even going to have color differentiation there with the nice blue to go along with the gray is going to help break up the otherwise monotonous color scheme. It's never monotonous though when it's gold though, is it? However, looking at the knees, some nice little details there. Unfortunately, it's only going to be a seal there, not actually white plastic. Probably one of the bigger knocks in terms of the color choices for this. But otherwise, the details here are going to be looking pretty good. This will rotate around and not bang into the ankle guard there. And these parts back here are not going to be moving, but you can take the toes and bend them down, which is going to be important for the transformation. And you'll see that everything is looking good with some lighting possibilities that I have more or less ignored. The waist section is even going to seem a little bit unspectacular in terms of colors, but it's so great that they're going to be adding in those blue parts there that are going to be done in plastic instead of seals. A little bit of black lining could probably be done better here, but little pluses here, like on the side where they're going to be using a single piece of plastic just to provide the illusion of depth there and provide the look that it's going to have even more. Not too big a fan of these kind of hip attachments. Hopefully they're going to work out better, but it's sort of neat that instead of just having one solid blue piece here, that you're actually going to be able to detach these parts here, which is going to be used in the transformation. But a dull waist section is to be expected when it's only about a centimeter tall, but when you take a look at the details that are going to go into the chest, most of them are going to be very good, just starting with the colors down there. The fact that it's going to have the gray, then the light gray, or the different gray there, the lighter gray, to go along with the blue there is just going to look fantastic to have these parts in short order, even when they're only going to be using one piece of plastic to create that effect. The neck is going to be looking good there with some lining possibilities. Really, the only knock against it is, again, you're going to have these seals here. But if you just look at the convoluted efforts that Bandai's gone to get this to bend over all sorts of different surfaces, you can guess that no matter how much effort you put into it, it's going to come across as looking so-so. And for pros out there who want to tape this off and paint it properly, I'm sure it would pay off in spades in terms of overall looks. The shoulders are just going to attach in there with the polycap, but it's going to be the back here that's going to be a little bit more interesting. First of all, a 90-degree bend there, and it's not going to be moving up and down on the actual mount mechanism, but the wings themselves are going to be able to move up about that much and down. And you already saw that this part here can move. Not a huge range of motion, but still impressive. And these small ones here are going to come out and make it look even cooler when it's transformed into its rider of waves form. But the really cool part for the chest transformation here is going to be that you can take this. First of all, you'll take this ab section and just detach that. And then you can slide this forward. You don't want to do it too much. And if you do that, you can take off the head and that whole neck part there. And then you're going to be able to bend this part up and bend this part down. Just an incredible amount of moving parts in a relatively small section for a relatively small MS. Well, at least in this Gunpla form. The arms, though, are quite impressive there. Just some simple seals that really help add to it. These are going to be reflective metallic silver there with just a simple line down the middle. It's also indented there if you wanted to go and paint it up yourself. But just the details on the plastic or on the shoulders there, I could do a lot more lining, but going to keep it pretty simple. And because it's going to look pretty good just straight out of the box, it's also going to be helped by the fact that they give you a nice big black seal there to put on the inside. This part here is not going to be moving, but if you take a look at the shoulders themselves, this can move up and down while you keep this part stationary. So this is always going to be attached into the arm that way. Here we've got a shield attachment point, but it's these kind of details here that are going to be put into the forearms. Always impressive for SDs to have forearms in the first place. Never mind these fancy things called elbows. Also, you're going to be able to rotate this part around as it's on a ball polycap there. And solid looking manipulators that are going to be nice and easy to attach the weapons into. The beam rifle looks like it's going to have some nice proportions there, and even though the one that's painted up by a pro again has some white colors up there, that would have been nice if it had been recreated with a single piece of white plastic there. Nonetheless, it's still going to be pretty good. You can take this and attach this down if you want to go and put that on for the transformation, and otherwise just some simple black lining can help give it a little bit of life. With the shield being good and bad at the same time here, first of all, it's going to have two main colors between the blue and the gray that's going to make up the majority of the body. But if you take a look, all of this white color here is going to be provided by a seal. And if you can check it out, Bandai already perforated it for you, so that when you're putting it all around in all these different places, it's going to be, well, it's going to be peeling up a little bit over time. And you'll want to get in there with a Q-tip or a toothpick just to make sure that it's all in there nice and solid. The three colors are definitely going to look good, and it's the kind of thing that if you flipped it over though, these parts should also be white, and that's going to become very apparent when it's in its Wave Rider form, as this is actually going to be on the top part. Here's the connection point, some lining possibilities there, but if you want to go and jazz it up and paint it and again tape it off, you can make it look great. But when you see a big white piece that should be plastic, always just a little bit disappointing when you're talking 1200. There's going to be regular weapon holding hands for both left and right, but check this out, anytime you've got a dynamic open hand like this, and it's the kind of thing that you could always borrow it and send it off to another SD if you wanted to, it's going to be looking pretty cool, and again just help blur the lines between the grades. For me, these are the kinds of plates, they're very simple, just one clear plate can give Bandai, let you have all sorts of play options, and it's only going to cost them, let's say, 100 yen or something like that. And I think that it's really going to help kids who are buying this SD Gundam, or SD Delta Plus, at least get it up in the air and have a lot of fun with it. As you've got this part up here, which is going to be able to go up vertically for the MS, and down this way when you want to go for the Wave Rider. But the really exciting piece of plastic here, although it's going to be a little bit disappointing, just because of the lack of colors anywhere on it, is going to be the base jabber. First of all, for the pros, you can just see that look at the amount of intricate details there. On this side, there's as much details as there are in the high-grade Universal Century, it looks like. I only lined the outside, didn't want to go with the deck there, but otherwise some black lighting is going to help bring out the windows and things like that. And these parts in the front, it's just the kind of thing where you've got these sections here, 1, 2, 3, 4 across, and if they're going to be giving you this much white, of course it would be nice if they did it white plastic. Even for the high grade though, they did it for seals, but these are just calling out for seals, so I don't know why they chinsed out there, because even just putting on those simple pieces of white really helped that out in terms of coloring, and maybe some yellow ones there for the cockpit would have been a nice touch. But otherwise, you're going to have some decent details on the top, including the handholds, but it's underneath where it's going to be pretty dull, because this is pretty much to be expected when you're molding a piece of plastic this large. But remember that you can store all sorts of things there, and besides, you're not going to be seeing it unless you've got it even off the ground on one of the elevated sections. It's still mostly going to be your eyes looking down, so no complaints about that. As you can store the extra manipulator in there, and this is the part that's going to help add, for example, the Unicorn Gundam onto the back of the Delta Plus when he's transformed. Here's the actual hips for the transformation, and you can also do things like take the actual hips from the Delta Plus from his MS mode when you're transforming him and put that in there. A little bit disappointing though that you can't take the head. Of course, you're going to be omitting this. You can attach it on, but you'd have to add on the extra gray arm there, which you can see here, which is going to have both an up and a horizontal position there. And you can take this and attach it onto 3 different parts of the base jabber. Would have been nice perhaps if they had actually thrown in 2 or 3, well, 2 of these anyway, so that if you wanted to go and have the Banshee and the Unicorn or Jestas or whatever else, even though they're not SD yet, and have them go and duke it out, it's definitely a plus. But remember, you've also got the clear part option. So in terms of things on top of things, it seems like the sky is going to be the limit. As you've got ground level base jabber, you could have somebody standing there. You can go ahead and take the Delta Plus and attach it on there, and then take the Unicorn Gundam and put them up on top. Definitely ridiculous, and definitely lots of fun play options. And say it all together now, but SD BB Senshis live and die by their head sculpt here. Camera lens on the back with just some simple lining, but all the action is going to be in the front, the opposite of a mullet. It's exactly what you want to see here. I've gone and put some black lining in there, and just as well for the Vulcans. But more importantly, you can just see that he's going to got those fierce eyes there. These are the less cartoony eyes. And just the construction of all the parts up here, simple though it's going to be, they're going to look very cool, very effective, and it's the kind of thing that it makes you want to have a new and redone Hyakushiki here with its proper coating of nice gold, but definitely a plus here. But if you want to take off the helmet and lobotomize him here, you can take the face off and just switch it around. It's going to be nice and simple there. Another nice touch that I really liked about this is that this part is going to be asymmetrical. Over here you've got the option of putting in some black lining, which I chose to do. You can ignore their instructions when you're actually putting this all together, but you're not going to have the eyes that little bit of black under the eye part there. So it's going to look a little less intimidating, but you can take this, seal it back up, and then pop his helmet on, and you've got a cartoony, fun, and no need to throw out the extra set of seals or stick them around, or even choose, because all you have to do is swap them as desired. So the parts are going to be a lot of fun, and again, the quality is going to be shining through, especially in the sculpts that you're going to be getting between the forearms, the legs, the details and the color apps on the chests. Really, the only knock is going to be that inside this pile of empty plates here is that there's not a small white one that would be providing the extra colors that you could get perhaps down here and on the shield. But otherwise, it just seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. And the head, the most important part, is looking spectacular no matter what set of eyes you put on. Combine it with 3 different levels of stacking. Anyway, can't wait to check it out. So stick around to see the MS and the Wave Rider, and the verdict and final thoughts will all be combined in the next part. Stick around, and thanks for watching. See ya. Clear base, base jabber, banshee, this is really getting ridiculous now.